Hello, and welcome to our third semi-annual Virtual Tech CMO Forum. My name is Ricardo Villate, and I am the Group Vice President for IDC Latin America. I am thrilled to be here with you as so many things are happening before our eyes. We have good things happening, like seeing the light at the end of the pandemic tunnel. And not so good things, the tunnel is still very long for most. We also have increased uncertainty in some countries. But at the center of it all, there is one certainty, and it is that the digital acceleration in all aspects of our lives continues. For us that work in the technology industry, this is good news. I'm here to share IDC's views of how this acceleration is impacting the job of marketing and sales executives in our region. For those of you that are interested in learning more about our insights on this topic, please click on the link below the slides to download an infographic on the subject that we have published earlier this year. During April and May of 2021, IDC Latin America conducted a survey of 91 tech CMOs. These are the top marketing executives of technology organizations around the region. The sample represents a mix of countries and a mix of both regional and multi-country or local country-specific executives. What we found was revealing. I have divided my story in 3 chapters: strategy, digital engagement, and marketing and technology, or MarTech. However, the 3 are closely interrelated. After more than a year of remote everything, tech marketing strategies have accommodated to the realization that most in-person interactions are limited, and that digital marketing is now at the center of marketing. However, during the past year, the contribution of marketing to sales seems to have stalled at 58% of all leads generated or advanced by marketing, and 42% by the sales organization. In 2019, in a similar survey done 2 years ago, prior to the pandemic, the figure was 63% of leads from marketing and 37% from sales. The 5-point drop for marketing comes from those leads that are generated by sales but advanced by marketing, signaling that sales and marketing are struggling to collaborate as smoothly as they were prior to the pandemic. This is causing Latin America tech marketers to readjust their priorities in 2021. As we have seen over the years, information and communication technology marketing executives focus on bringing value and selling that value to technology buyers. Of the total respondents to the survey, 64% represented in the first bar of this chart said their top priority for 2021 is to increase the quantity and quality of leads. This bring the sales comeback comes together with a returning attention to brand. Increasing brand awareness is the second priority, with a 39% response ratio, versus 20% from a similar survey done 2 years ago, prior to the pandemic. So the attention to brand is now moving from the 5th priority to the 2nd priority. Product marketing has taken the backseat for the moment, with a 22% response rate versus 44% 2 years ago. Also in this survey, we included digital marketing competency as a category, and a whole 31%, this is 1 out of every 3 marketing CMOs, includes this category in their top priority list. We will see further along why this is so relevant. What is very interesting here is that the budget limitations are much less of a constraint as they were prior to the pandemic. Comparing the 2 surveys, this category got half of the responses in 2021 than what it got in 2019. We believe this is because a lot of the money saved in other expenses like travel, office space, rent, etc., has flowed to marketing in the search for growth. We will see that this is consistent with the responses on budget allocations, which I'll show next. 2020 saw a dramatic halt in marketing spending at the beginning of the pandemic. In Q2 and Q3, we saw the most of the drop as companies struggled to react to the cataclysmic shift in buying behavior. Spending came back with force in Q4, so it is hard to assess the net growth in 2020 versus 2019. However, our survey shows that in 2021, budgets are back. Marketing spending as a proportion of revenues in tech organizations is now 4.5% of the total, a historical high in more than half a decade of running this IDC survey and almost 60% higher than in 2019. The third line in green boxes here shows that of the total marketing budget, about 2/3 is allocated to external programs. The fact that it is a lower proportion than in 2019 means that the additional increase in total budgets is being used more heavily towards staff. Having said this, the expectation is that the external program marketing budgets are on the rise, increasing 4.1% in 2021 versus 2020. This is good news for the tech marketers that have had to struggle to do more with less for many, many years. This chart shows how is the external program budget allocated in different categories, comparing the results of the 2021 survey with the one done prior to the pandemic in early 2019. I would highlight 4 aspects of this chart. First, the proportion going to events, the largest category. It has declined to a historical low. Of course, there are no in-person conferences or summits going on. However, if we look inside that purple section, most of that in 2019, about 90% of that 21% was allocated to physical events. In 2021, the situation is the reverse. 83% of the events budget is digital. This means that the budget for digital events has grown about 5 times between 2019 and 2021. This is a significant increase in budgets that will carry over to the post-pandemic campaign decisions. Second, influence-based marketing, including social marketing, analyst relations, and public relations, PR, are taking a bite out of partner-based marketing. Here represented in the category that is called marketing development funds and co-op funds, which are the funds that are allocated to vendors for marketing, for partner marketing programs. Third, activities that have to do with digital campaigns, such as direct marketing, content marketing, website marketing, are also increasing their share of budget allocation. So we come back to the recurring theme of digital marketing. We looked at the survey data on budgets through the lens of digital marketing versus the rest. And in this next chart, you will see what the dramatic result is. The most important shift in budget is that digital marketing has reached a tipping point, where now 53%, the majority of program spending, this is all external non-staff budget, is geared towards digital marketing programs for 2021, for the first time representing that majority of the budget. We suspect this is here to stay, and digital marketing will continue to hold the lion's share of budget for the foreseeable future, even after face-to-face interactions return. As organizations have realized, roaming or return for marketing investment for digital campaigns is high, since cost is usually lower and results are comparable to those of physical marketing activities in many cases. As organizations bet on digital marketing to increase awareness and generate more demand, a few kinks need to be ironed out. Marketers need to prime for continued increase in scale and personalization of campaigns. They will need to remain innovative, and they will need to become even more efficient in the use of marketing technology platforms, including social, analytic, content, and collaboration tools. So the second chapter of this story drills down on digital marketing. What's the focus? How is it evolving? Digital marketing has been in the agenda for many years now, but in a region where physical, face-to-face interaction is paramount, marketing spending in digital campaigns has not been as prevalent as in other regions. During the pandemic, digital marketing has proven its validity as an effective formula for Latin American marketers, not just because of its remote nature and lower costs, no venues, no transport, no catering, lower production, but also due to great benefits like agility in the production and content management, a wider breadth of outreach, and opportunity for innovative messaging, among others. One characteristic of digital marketing is the modularization of content. Research done by other firms shows that buyers consume more content than before, in higher frequency and in a much higher variety. In other words, throughout the buying journey, tech buyers are consuming content more times and of more types to educate their buying decisions, albeit in smaller bite size. Here we have a chart that shows different types of content categories and how are those important to marketers in Latin America. Think of the Marvel Universe model. There's a main storyline told in 3-hour movie formats. That didn't work so well during the pandemic. However, Marvel stories came out in snack sizes of 20 minutes to 40-minute chapters of longer series, streamed online. People are now consuming more hours of content, but in smaller sizes and more frequently. The key continues to be a solid backstory with great characters and other story elements, of course. But digital consumption now requires a greater variety of both content and channels. This calls for better content for portfolio management and a richer crafting of campaigns. According to our survey of digital events, those where multiple buyers attend a live or a pre-recorded interaction with the vendor or vendors have replaced physical events for the most part and are the preferred element of a digital campaign. 1/3 of respondents say that the best return on marketing investment is digital events. The next two categories of marketing content are snackable assets, for example, social tiles, posts, videos, etc., and dynamic content, infographics, videos, microsites, with 18% and 17% of respondents respectively qualifying them in the top list for return on marketing investment. Other types of content that are relevant are stationary content such as ebooks, white papers, or case studies, product sales content, such as brochures and so on, and business value assets such as cost-benefit calculators, maturity models, or interactive ROI tools. And marketers are putting their money where their mouth is. The numbers here on the right represent the share of content marketing budget for each category. This is what the proportion is of total content marketing spending for each of these. They align pretty well with perceived value or return on marketing investment. In some categories, there are slight differences, but none too high as to question the correlation between perceived value and the actual spending. I should note that for the first category, digital events, there is a slightly higher difference of percentages. This is not that the digital events are under budgeted. It is that some investment is internal. The next slide shows that. This slide shows the distribution of all the events budget. That's 15%. There are different categories of events, and a correct mix always depends on the intent and the audience pursued. Here you can see that about 38% of external spending goes to events that are self-hosted. An example of this is a company that does its own audience development. It means it invites and manages delegates and subcontracts content or platform. The budget here represents, the budget here does not capture the time and tools of the company. It only represents the portion that is subcontracted. So we get it. Digital marketing is closely associated to content marketing, and content campaigns make use of a variety of formats and channels. With the correct intelligence, the model allows for very complex personalization of the campaign. This is what marketers have always wanted. But what does it entail? It is determining a shift in the way companies do marketing to engage with their customers. The traditional model is evolving hand in hand with the digital acceleration. The traditional stovepipe approach of managing data and content separately for every channel is giving way to a connected customer engagement model. In the traditional model, campaigns and channels are managed separately with different sets of data repositories, sometimes different teams. The new model requires an integral approach. But this is not just about reformatting and copy-pasting. Tech marketers in Latin America will need to master digital content creation, publication, coordination, and results monitoring. IDC calls this connected customer engagement. All customer data is interconnected in data lakes and dashboards and is accessible to analytic tools in a single repository. All the content is stored, managed, and decommissioned depending on customer analytics on behavior and not separately by campaign. As digital marketing becomes predominant, data flows to all content types, and content can be reused and repurposed easily for all channels: email, web, ad, search, and social. Tech marketers will need to refine the way they rely on marketing technologies, the so-called MarTech platform, to drive scale and efficiency to digital marketing. The problem with digital campaigns today is that they evolved from the traditional approach of direct marketing, which is akin to bringing a machine gun to a shooting contest. Ammunition is cheap, and marketers bombarded everything and everyone with generic content. Thus, we have gotten used to a very low level of effectiveness. In this chart, you will see what Latin American marketers say their average effectiveness is. It considers conversion rates, sometimes called hit ratios, in different stages of the marketing funnel. From the beginning of the campaign, when targets are set based on generic information about the universe, and these turn into marketing qualified leads, or MQLs, through campaigns that involve email, web, and other channels, even phone reach out at times. Potential prospects respond, but only a few provide marketing enough information to become marketing contacts. Finally, just a fraction of those find themselves in the right moment, with a need and the authority to spend it in that moment. On both sides of this description, you can see the results of our survey in terms of conversion rates from each stage to the next, as documented from the responses of our survey. So here's a simplified version. What the rates mean is that in this example, marketing sets out to pursue 100 customers in a campaign. This would be the campaign universe. What happens is that only 31 contacts react to the campaign. Of those, only a third, or about 10 of the original 100 target, provide marketing with enough information to be determined as real contacts. They exist, and they have a job title in the correct company. But about 20%, or about 2 contacts of the original target, react with interest to the campaign, expressing they have budget and the authority to spend it. So in sum, what happens is that the effectiveness of the campaign is 2% or even less. So digital customer engagement should help increase this number, right? Not enough. The digital tools are very important. Digital marketing captured most Latin American tech marketing budgets in 2021 for the first time, realizing the announced digital-first era for tech marketing. It is only logical that technology has become a foundation for digital-first marketing. The intersection of marketing and technology is defining a time where hyper-personalization, content innovation, and intelligence are accelerating marketing productivity. Marketers that use technology can achieve much-needed scale. There are many tools and applications out there, so a good model for rationalization, called the 6 Cs of MarTech, and introduced by Scott Brinker in 2017, is useful to align technology strategy with marketing strategy. The 6 Cs are tools that allow marketers to manage customers, information, and insights, content production and distribution, community creation and management, catalogs, subscription and transaction management for commerce, and collaboration across marketing teams. All of these can be connected to a core management platform that integrates data and content across all campaigns and through all channels. Also, the idea of a connected customer engagement, which this model represents, is relatively new. Adoption of the 6 Cs technologies among Latin American tech marketers is growing rapidly. This is the response to the question, what are your organization plans for deployment of the 6 C technologies? In the lower end of adoption, commerce tools will be used by 50% of tech CMOs surveyed by the end of 2021. In the higher end, we find community, content, and customer tools, all ranging at about 90% adoption by the end of 2021. In the middle are collaboration and core, with 60% and 67% adoption, respectively. These are very high-level ranges of adoption, but I'm not that surprised because in the end, we are in the technology industry. So technology adoption is kind of our bread and butter. The high use of technology tools for digital marketers is changing the profile of the professions. Marketers need to be tech savvy and collaborate closely with information technology professionals. Our survey shows that 45% of tech marketers implement and manage these tools directly, and 40% of respondents collaborate closely with IT for that. So the preferred approach will be collaboration between marketing and IT. Some will believe they know enough about technology to do it on their own. And some, still a high percentage of 15%, tell us that they delegate marketing technology, strategy, and management entirely to the IT department. Clearly, this is not a good approach. Marketing must develop and manage some level of technical competency with tools such as CRM, customer data platform for customers, or content management, video sharing, or interactive tools for content, or social media and influencer management tools for community, or e-commerce, point of sale, or subscription and billing platforms for commerce. Or in the case of collaboration, agile marketing, project and workflow management tools. And finally, omni-channel management, journey orchestration, and business analytic tools for the core. This last one, the core, is becoming the key piece for the 6C approach. It is the one that allows for integration and drives marketing to the connected customer engagement model. As you can see, technology skills are a requirement for marketing, and collaboration with IT is essential. As new technologies like AI and machine learning are embedded in these tools, the marketing team will also need to incorporate data science skills. We are at the end of the story. Here's how I put it all together. I talked about the strategy, the future of marketing. This is about a focus on demand generation, a clear tactical need, and how it balances with the long-term need for managing strong brands. There is a certain sense of urgency in the air. However, be careful. Only do it yourself if you can guarantee scale. I talked about digital first. Content continues to be king, but multiple contents and channels require an integral connected customer engagement model. Finally, MarTech continues to evolve, and with it, the requirements of a technical skill portfolio in the marketing team. The result will be better hyper-personalization and scale in marketing campaigns. But let's not forget the end goal, business growth and continued marketing efficiency. With ambitious end goals that include expanding brand and product positioning, capturing new customers, and assuring loyalty and advocacy of existing ones, and ultimately growing the business, marketers are moving rapidly to a digital-first approach. Marketing technology is becoming a sine qua non condition to achieve these goals at scale, measuring results along the way and allowing a virtuous cycle of marketing productivity to accelerate in the era of digital acceleration. Now, I would like to invite you to send me your questions using the Q&A button of the console, as we have about 10 minutes before our next session. Please give me a few seconds and I'll take your questions. All right, so I have several questions here. And since they're mostly in Spanish, I'm going to switch now to Spanish. Of course, if you have more questions and want to ask in any language, please do so. I'll try to do my best with my portuñol o my español. Bueno, la primera pregunta dice, ¿cuál se espera que sea el gasto en marketing digital en 2021? Bueno, como mostré, el gasto en marketing digital está creciendo rápidamente. Si miramos y hacemos un cálculo rápido, la cifra que mostré es que el presupuesto de marketing en promedio es como el 5,5% del revenue, pero de eso solamente 2/3 son gasto externo, entonces como un 4,5%. Y como vieron, la mitad de eso, el 53%, es marketing digital, eso es como 3,5 puntos porcentuales del revenue. Ese es el valor, digamos, de la inversión en marketing digital en este año. Perdón, el presupuesto externo es como 3,5, la mitad de eso es como 1,8, 1,9 puntos de revenue. Sin embargo, creo que es más importante mirar el crecimiento en dólares. Si miramos y extrapolamos cómo ha sido la evolución entre 2019 y 2021, el gasto en marketing digital ha crecido un 200% entre esos 2 años. All right, la segunda pregunta. ¿Qué iniciativas sugieres para el social marketing social? Bueno, como lo decía, en nuestra experiencia, la práctica de marketing ha descubierto que un canal o un tipo de mensaje en un canal nunca es tan bueno como tener una campaña integral que sea omnicanal y que sea consistente a través de diferentes canales. Entonces, la porción de social marketing es una parte de las campañas, pero no es todo. Entonces, lo primero que hay que pensar es cómo hay un fit entre los mensajes, los contenidos y los objetivos de la parte de social marketing y el resto de las campañas. Habiendo dicho esto, naturalmente las campañas de social marketing tienen que ver con el contenido más snackable, aquel 17-18% del presupuesto de marketing externo que va a programas, y cómo se compagina eso con otros tipos de contenidos de marketing como más dinámico, estacionario, o modelos de business value, etc. Algo que hay que pensar también es acerca de quién es la audiencia y qué tipo de influenciador o imagen de influenciador se usa, ya sea propios de la compañía o ese marketing que se está dedicando a influenciadores como las firmas de Analyst Relations, PR, la prensa, la media, incluso los propios canales o el Channel Partner Ecosystem. Entonces hay que tener en cuenta qué fit hay entre esos influenciadores, como ellos también facilitan la transmisión de los mensajes de marca, como nuestra marca hace un fit también con su branding personal, y cómo le facilitamos que haya fluidez entre la historia que queremos nosotros que se resalte y la historia que ellos cuentan, de manera que no parezca artificial el endorsement o el mensaje que se hace a través de social influencers. Ok, aquí hay una pregunta sobre what type of initiatives generate better ROI. En una de las diapositivas mostré cómo diferentes categorías de marketing digital generaban diferentes tipos de ROI de acuerdo con nuestra encuesta. So I'm going to switch to English. That's an English question. So in one of the slides, I showed that where we were talking about what are the areas of focus for programs, external spending on digital marketing, where about 34% of the survey sample responded that the best ROMI, return on marketing investment, comes from digital events, virtual events, webinars, and so on. This is comparable to the sort of information and response that we used to get in previous versions. The 2019 survey also mentioned events. However, that survey was in that time we were heavily focused, as you know, on digital events. What I can conclude from this is that for the most part, not all of it, but for the most part, we have been able as an industry to swiftly switch from physical events to digital events and get similar levels of return on investment from the digital ones. The other categories that are top of the list are snackable content, 18%, dynamic content, 17%, stationary content, So dynamic content, infographics, videos, Microsoft, it's stationary content, white papers, ebooks, case studies, and so on. La siguiente pregunta, una pregunta muy corta, si los presupuestos que estamos mostrando son de marketing o ventas o de ambos. Bueno, esta encuesta fue hecha entre Chief Marketing Officers o directores de marketing y se les preguntó acerca de su presupuesto. En una encuesta que hicimos hace 2 años, preguntamos al mismo tipo de muestra cuántos de ellos recibían también fondos para marketing de otras áreas funcionales de la compañía, y cerca de un 40% de las empresas recibe fondos directamente del área de ventas para contribuir a la parte de marketing. Creo que aquí falta también identificar que hay otros fondos que no vienen ni de marketing ni de ventas y que contribuyen a cosas como inteligencia de mercado en la parte de estrategia de las empresas. Ok. Siguiente pregunta. ¿Qué podríamos considerar como un buen rate en Marketing Qualified Leads? Bueno, aquí lo que mostré es las respuestas del promedio que ustedes mismos, los CMOs, obtienen, en donde en promedio para esta industria estamos obteniendo una efectividad de más o menos un 2% cuando comenzamos con el número de target, lo que es la audiencia deseada, y el número de Marketing Qualified Leads que se obtienen a través de ese proceso iterativo de ir a buscarlos, ir a completar su información, ir a determinar si hay interés, si hay oportunidad, si hay necesidad. Entonces, el 2% es un punto de partida. Por supuesto que cada campaña tiene una audiencia determinada. Entonces, la segmentación de esas audiencias puede lograr diferentes niveles de efectividad. El mensaje, por supuesto, es clave para que el hit rate, el return, sea mucho más alto. Y la forma como se hace una campaña integral a través de diferentes canales, tocando diferentes puntos en el viaje del comprador, en el buyer journey, también afecta a eso. Por supuesto que las audiencias en algún momento están más listas para oír unos tipos de mensajes que otras, dependiendo de si están en la etapa de investigación, evaluación, compra o ya consumo de una solución, de manera que considerar todos estos aspectos es algo necesario. En IDC, parte de lo que nosotros hacemos es ayudar a compañías proveedoras de tecnología a hacer un crafting correcto de tanto la campaña como el mensaje, en función de los contenidos, los canales y los tiempos y la segmentación, de manera que podamos lograr niveles de efectividad más altos. Yo he sido testigo y he visto y he conversado con muchos de ustedes, y puede haber, yo he encontrado niveles de efectividad de hasta un 15% de Marketing Qualified Leads versus el target en algunas campañas, en algunos de ustedes, de manera que hay lugar pues a un montón de mejora en el desempeño de las campañas. Here's another interesting question. Being the customers bombarded with digital events, any recommendation on how to capture their attention to attend the events that you develop? Yeah, of course, we worked very hard at keeping it fresh, staying in the edge of innovation, and always testing different varieties of combinations of content, format, messaging styles. We do a lot of A/B testing in every single event that we do, in every single campaign that we do. We do A/B testing, and we get that information and provide feedback to our models to be able to refine it. And I would say that this is always a moving target. There's a lot of competition out there. There's a lot of noise out there as well. There's a lot of very beautifully formatted noise that captures a lot of attention without a fundamental value being driven at the end. But that's always concerning. The agenda of our audience, of the end user, is a finite commodity, and we have to make sure that we look at it in terms of what's the trade-off for an audience between attending an event and doing something else, some other training, or going to a sales meeting, or doing some work. So yeah, I think that the few things that we have identified, of course, are the format, but also what's the combination of elements, what's the brand recognition of people, and different topics as well. Topics that are hot in one moment can cool off very quickly, and always use a multi-pronged approach. Never just put all your eggs in one basket. Having several assets in a single campaign allows you to tap into those different kinds of consumptions that the same audience has. A lot of people in one part of the audience will like one sort of asset, one sort of format, and another a different one. So be sure to have an integral approach to a campaign. And one last thing is the key to success of a marketing campaign is to do a great planning of the campaign. Segment correctly, select your audience correctly, focus on those that are higher opportunities for you, and therefore at the end, it's going to be, as much as it is about the quantity, it is about the quality of those leads. I think to many of you, the quality of the leads is even more important than the quantity. So keep that in mind. So I think I ran out of time for questions. I want to thank you for your attention today. I invite you to continue hearing about market trends and how digital acceleration is creating opportunities for all of us. Please stay in the main stage for our next agenda item, it's going to be a panel moderated by Diego Anesini, and it has the presence of country managers from Brazil, Mexico, Chile, and Colombia. Thank you.